So today on Sunday, it's the final purging of the Saturn-Neptune square. The full moon last Wednesday was Mercury conjunct Saturn, conjunct the Sun, opposite the full moon right there in Gemini, all squaring Neptune. We were plunged into these emotional depths of self-doubt, dissolving opinions, confusion, chaos. It's real chaos. Neptune, in its own sign of Pisces, is really chaotic. This is the energy of the people who believe in the flat earth theory and things like that. Neptune in Pisces is the definition of extremely far out, elusive, insane spirituality. It's dissolving form, it's one of the most confusing, dissolving, delusion-inducing aspects in astrology. And we're going to be experiencing that for several more years now. We're just getting into the thick of it right now. Neptune, its own sign of Pisces. This is really being emphasized now. But Saturn square Neptune in Pisces, both are solid structures of philosophy, are being dissolved by Neptune, and Saturn is also testing Neptune, it's testing the spirituality of ours with a very disciplined, strict, depressing, cold reality type thing. That's what we just overcame. So today is the final peak of this emphasis on that. It's just incredibly fateful that the full moon would happen exactly on Saturn, exactly to square Neptune, at the exact peak of this. Why would the full moon come around and do this at this exact time? That is what I feel is a synchronicity that is so improbable if you know what astrology is, that it's some evidence to support it, I think astrology to me is just a sacred spiritual thing that, I don't think that spirituality necessarily has to coexist with a lot. Well, I probably shouldn't get into this topic, but okay, so the final passing of Saturn square Neptune, that's what we just experienced. But now I'm going to tell you what's transitioning us out of Saturn square Neptune. You see what just made me kind of philosophically motivated and energized to tell you that? Because I kind of just ranted. I feel that was Mercury trine Uranus. Mercury is, of course, I'm going to go to tomorrow's horoscope to emphasize this. So this is Monday, November 30th. Monday, November 30th. Now the Sun is 1 degree off Saturn, and Mercury's at 15 degrees Sagittarius, the heart of Sagittarius, trining Uranus almost exact 1 degree away. Monday. Tomorrow is going to be a really inspired, ideologically passionate, Aquarius type, a really idea-flowing day. A day of creativity, a day of thinking, a day of being much more enthusiastic than the last few weeks, and a lot less confused. Uranus is a very not confused energy. It's the energy of fixed sign Aquarius, It's the energy of technology, revolution, rebelliousness, weirdness, intelligence, science. Uranus is the reason why the concepts of weirdness, oddness, unconventionalness, and rebelliousness are inseparable from intelligence. They're, according to these theories of astrology, it's kind of all within Uranus. Uranus carries all of that inside itself, just like Saturn has all these different characteristics, and Neptune is all its different, So Mercury is the surface mind. Mercury retrograde affects us so strongly sometimes because Mercury will move backwards to get stuck at an angle to a planet. If Mercury retrogrades and gets stuck, then it'll be either stuck at a good aspect or stuck at a bad aspect. It could be good or bad. So Mercury is the surface mind. It's the mechanical mind. It's the mind that you feel. It's the logical mind. It's like the left brain. the left brain is, the brain in charge of logic and stuff like that, as the right brain is creativity and all that. So Mercury is basically the left brain, the mechanical mind. And Uranus, according to octave theory, Uranus is like the higher octave of Mercury. Uranus is like the electricity to the machine of Mercury. Uranus is the electricity, the ideas, the creativity, the juices flowing through the mechanical mind of Mercury. See, it's the machine and the electricity. Mercury is the machine, Uranus is the idea flow, to the logical mind and the creative mind. But don't confuse the creative mind with the spiritual mind, Neptune, because they are very, very different. Uranus is creativity, rebelliousness, technology, intelligence, science. But Neptune is formless spirituality, and trust me, Neptune is not to be put into form. Neptune's not supposed to make sense, and Pisces is not either. I mean, not saying all people with Sun in Pisces are like that, but anyway, so Monday is going to be a much better day than today and the last few days. Monday is going to see Mercury start to trine Uranus, and so you're going to see the connection of the rational mind with creativity. You're going to feel like creativity flowing again starting on Monday, but we'll also have the residual Saturn square Neptune confusion, Saturn conjunct Saturn, rigidness and self-doubt and all that stuff, so don't get me wrong, we'll be transitioning out of that bad type of energy still, but this will also be a particularly good day because the moon will be trining the sun and Saturn and making a conjunct to Neptune. The moon will be trining Uranus, so it's a pretty good day Monday. I think it will be significantly better than the last few days. We're transitioning out of this. Refer to my last video for the long-term perspective, and here's Tuesday. This is Tuesday, December 1st. And on Tuesday, the sun is now 2 degrees away from Saturn. The rigid Saturnian self-doubting energy is fading. Disciplined energy and the confusion is fading. And Saturn is 0.4 degrees away from Neptune, basically. Or minutes, as they technically call it. But Mercury is pretty much peaking and it's trine to Uranus. So Tuesday really should probably be one of the best days this week. Because on Tuesday, we'll have the moons. See, I feel like aspects, they're much more powerful just after they peak as opposed to just before they peak. So Mercury at 15 degrees Sagittarius and Uranus at 16 degrees Aries, it's not really peaking yet. Technically the peak is, both of them is 16 degrees, but I feel like the true peak is a degree or two after, at 17, 18 degrees, because then the planet has had a little bit more time to just sit and I feel like it just bathes in the energy of the other planet, So I consider this to be the true peak of the grand fire trine with Mercury, the moon, and Uranus. Mercury trine Uranus. So we're starting to transition out of that, but I have some bad news. Mars square Pluto. That's coming. So we have to savor the good times and prepare for the bad times, because the universe and life are an up and down cycle of lessons, then rewards, then lessons, then rewards. If you're an experienced human being, you know how life works. So, Wednesday, we have the sun a greater distance away from Saturn. This Saturn square Neptune is physically tired, self-doubting, confusing aspect. It's slowly just fading. It's slowly fading, agonizingly, slowly fading. The confusion is going to persist. But now we're getting into something else. Now that the Saturn square Neptune is ending, what we're seeing is the reactivation of Uranus square Pluto. And Mars opposite Uranus and square Pluto. So, Mars square Pluto. Mars square Pluto. You see, this Uranus square Pluto is pretty much the focal point of this entire decade. It's a very strong revolutionary aspect known for causing both war and revolution, both creativity, explosive creativity, explosively developing technology. You know, Pluto is an explosive power in Capricorn. In the last video, one of the last videos I did, I explained the background perspective of Uranus square Pluto. But anyway, this is the revolutionary place of the last 3 years. This is the protests in Egypt in 2013. This is all the war. Well, it's not all the war, because the war is kind of perpetual now, and kind of always, but this Uranus-Pluto square is a very sensitive point in the sky right now. And we know that when something touches that point at a hard aspect, when Mars opposes Uranus while squaring Pluto, you know that that's going to agitate things. You know, the final peak of the Uranus-Pluto square was in April. It was either March or April of this year. During that time, the very peak of Uranus square Pluto, Mars aligned with Uranus, conjoined Uranus to square Pluto at the exact peak, 15 degrees Aries in Capricorn. Right now, Uranus and Pluto are only 2 degrees away from each other. They distance themselves, and then they're coming back to square again. So Mars, this is Wednesday. By Wednesday, December 2nd, we will start to feel Mars just start to creep into this place of Uranus square Pluto that has existed in our consciousness for the last few years. So you're going to be able to better identify what this revolutionary place inside all of us is after you feel it next week. Because Mars is going to be like a firecracker in this revolutionary place inside of us. Mars is going to just inch closer to squaring Pluto. And then eventually, the mood is going to change from confused and tired and delusional and just crazy like it is now to getting, okay, so to review once more, let's go back to Monday. On Monday, we're slowly transitioning out of Sun square Neptune in conjunct Saturn. We're transitioning out of Saturn square Neptune. We've got Venus conjunct Haumea. We've got a few positive things. We've got Mercury trine Uranus. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday start to get better. The juices start flowing a little bit more. Your ideas start flowing a little more. Confidence returns. Maybe with some epiphanies that you had during the hard Saturn square Neptune. But by Thursday it starts to get complicated. It starts to get a little bit different. It's a slow trek out of this Saturn square Neptune until about Thursday. And on Thursday, we have an interesting thing. You might call this, Wednesday and Thursday the true peak of Saturn. No, not Saturn. Mercury trine Uranus, because, as I said in the last part of this video, you have to get the juices flowing from an aspect, Mercury trine Uranus, by, it's a few degrees after its exact peak, I think. So the juices are starting to flow by Thursday with Mercury trine Uranus, ideas flowing, a little bit less self-doubt, a little bit less physical tiredness. But now, we have a few strange things. We have Mars square Pluto starting. Now it's 2 degrees away. So this kind of tension, this kind of fire, this kind of explosive fire just starts creeping into the scene. And that explosive fire is going to dominate the next 2 weeks after this. So right now, we have a brief window of time again before the next time something explodes. The brief window of time is about Monday to Thursday. About Monday to Thursday. So that's the time that you want to get stuff done, really. But yeah, so here's what's going to happen Thursday to Saturday and Sunday. We have Mars starting to square Pluto. That's an explosive, just total agitation of this revolutionary energy of the last 4 years. I think this will really be significant geopolitically. I think the war, something's going to happen with the geopolitical situation with Syria and Russia. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I don't want to give you any doomsday predictions, but, that's what I feel is going to happen. Mercury is going to hit 20 degrees Sagittarius, and it's going to square Jupiter. And on the day that Mercury really starts to square Jupiter, the moon is going to conjoin, align with Jupiter. So on Thursday, we feel Mercury square the moon and Jupiter. Mercury square the moon and Jupiter. What this does is it will probably give us an exaggerated energy. Jupiter squares are not bad like traditional squares. They pretty much give you exaggerated, kind of intoxicated energy. Kind of like Uranus will give you erratic, very ideologically passionate and intelligent, but erratic and bizarre energy. Jupiter is kind of similar in a square. It's not all bad. You might consider it positive because it will give us probably overconfidence, and we need overconfidence instead of Saturn square Neptune. So that will kind of negate the Saturn square Neptune, Mercury square the moon and Jupiter. But it's so strangely fateful. I don't know what will necessarily happen. But well, I don't know. I think I'm feeling the Saturn square Neptune right now. But anyway, we'll start to get a sense of overconfidence, a sense of fire, a sense of just a building tension by Thursday. And I really hope that this doesn't go badly. This could transition us smoothly out of Saturn square Neptune. This could alleviate the confusion, or instead of alleviating the confusion, it could just, plunge us into the depths of exaggerated overconfidence and explosive, fiery, revolutionary energy with the confusion still present. So hopefully the confusion will really start to be fading by then. But in any case, here's Friday. Friday, December 4th. By Friday, Mars is 13 degrees, Pluto is 14. By Friday, the fiery, explosive tension start to come up. The moon will conjoin Makemake at its north node, so maybe that will keep the tension from being escalated. We've got something very interesting though. We've got Mercury conjunct Ixion to square Jupiter. So Mercury, according to my theory of how dwarf planets can be activated, Ixion will be activated by Mercury. And not only will Mercury, the planet of the surface mind, activate Ixion if it does anything, but it will square Jupiter. So if Ixion has a noticeable effect, this may be the perfect day to test what this dwarf planet does, because, according to my theory about it, it'll be flowing through Mercury to square Pluto. So the energy, not to square Jupiter, not Pluto. So the energy of Ixion will be flowing through Mercury like a copper wire to also flow to Jupiter. So if Ixion does anything and it's activatable like this, because the dwarf planets are not on the plane of all planets, so a conjunction with Ixion is not exactly a conjunction, because this is the plane of all planets. Say that's the plane of all planets. Ixion orbits like that, diagonal. So I don't know if this will do anything, but if it does, we have no idea what that planet does. So maybe it'll do something good. It's sure to be interesting. In any case, we're living in very interesting times, and I'm not scared, I don't have fear. Fear is not something that I let control me, ever. If things were the very worst they could be, it's still not going to do anything good to feel fear. It is what it is. So, Saturday, Mars is even closer to Pluto. Mars is even closer to squaring Pluto. And the Sun is starting to trine Uranus. That's good. That's going to be another little boost of positive energy. That will definitely transition us out of Saturn square Neptune. That will be next week, not this week, but Saturday we will also, if Ixion has a feeling, we'll be feeling it through Mercury and through Jupiter strong on Saturday. And but on Saturday, the moon will conjoin Mars while it's squaring Pluto. So if there's a day that emotional energy might burst with this fiery Mars square Pluto, Mars opposite Uranus, Saturday might be the most volatile day. Friday and Saturday and Sunday will no doubt be the most volatile days this week. The first 3 days of this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, will be, as I reviewed before, this is Monday, today, more ideologically passionate. The juices will start flowing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the fire will come up. The energy will start to get explosive and maybe confrontational. And then we have a mystery dose of energy at the end of the week, with Mercury possibly activating this planet Ixion and squaring Jupiter. So we're transitioning out of the confusion and tiredness into idea flowing energy. The juices start getting flowing again. And then it's to the energy of inebriation with Mercury square Jupiter, inebriated philosophizing and stuff like that. And then explosive fieriness that will probably make geopolitical events escalate, to be honest. So, I'm definitely feeling the Saturn square Neptune because I am ranting, but I hope that was useful to you. I hope you learned some things. I hope you check all this out for yourself and see if it's accurate. You can look back at past instances of these type of aspects happening in your life to see if you felt these things or not. I encourage you to fully test this. Much love, all my people. Peace.